Hello drone lovers, I'm KM and welcome to my channel. Well, you can see here is the new quad that I built. This is the new HD quad with the DJI air unit built in. So this quad is actually built from 9 different separate vendors. If you count, the frame is from Gap RC, the flight controller and ESC is from iFlight, the GPS from Peitian, the DJI unit of course is from DJI, and the motors is from T-Motors, props are from Gemfan, and what else? The receiver is from FrSky. I have a R-XSR inside here. And of course my good and faithful Runcam 5. So there's no particular brand for this quad. So this quad itself is designed by myself in terms of the choice of propellers to match with the weight of this quad. Okay, later in the video I will just weigh this quad after I put in this receiver and all these things and see the final weight. As of now, the weight of this quad is 761 grams with the R-XSR receiver. So with a battery of 1400 mAh, 120C, 6S, that comes up to be 761 grams. Of course with the Runcam 5 as well. Even though the quality of the DJI's recording is pretty good for 1080p, but if you want anything higher or any resolution that is higher than 1080p, you still have to mount an external camera, preferably a GoPro, but a GoPro is expensive if you're not experienced yet. I will consider myself as a not so experienced pilot. Even though I may not crash that often, but you can see some drones crash on me a lot. But anyway, for today's episode, I will continue to add in the parts to this drone. In fact, I put in the R-XSR here is because I have not, at that time I have not received my FrSky Slim Plus, and so I had a R-XSR sitting around doing nothing. So I decided to put in the R-XSR, and believe me, it is a very good receiver and it is so responsive. I mean the latency itself is so good, and I could fly pretty much around a field. Basically I never go much further than 200-300 meters. So but it is a good receiver to have for short range flying. But in order for me to get a good reliable signal, I decided to get a receiver that has diversity antennas, so that I can point these antennas 90 degrees from one another, so there's no null point at any one time. And I plan to mount this on the back arms, so this will give me the best in terms of the drone's coverage. So because when you're flying, you're always in the tilt, so the antenna is always pointing upwards or downwards. Okay, this is also a buzzer. Sorry, this is a buzzer that I bought. Okay, and this buzzer itself, let me open it. It's a mini buzzer. Okay, yeah. It's just a small little buzzer with a backup battery, which you can mount it anywhere. I was thinking that I mount it here, just tie a cable tie here, and I hope that this cable that is provided by them is long enough, should be long enough to connect to the flight controller. For the FrSky, I plan to mount it here, below the DJI unit. If not, I'll mount it above the flight controller. And of course, this is something that I ordered, but the wrong part came. Okay, instead of shipping the seller, instead of shipping me the GPS holder, they shipped me DJI unit antenna holder, which I now have two. So I didn't. The other one is still lying around somewhere. So with this, at least now I don't have to use a homemade, self-made foam. I can mount this on the two screws here and face behind, and it would be ideal, and everything will be on the TPU. And even the longer screws is provided. So let me get on with the work, and I will show it to you once it's half done to see. And once it's about half done, I will do some binding to the transmitter. Okay, see you later. Yeah, one more thing. Before you put the FrSky Plus in, remember to upload the latest firmware into it. The latest firmware should be downloaded from the FrSky website. For Slim Plus, there's only one, latest one for the Succex-D firmware. So you don't have to worry. That firmware I have been using it for some time. And also I have prepared some cables for updating the firmware. So this is to connect to the Taranis module bay. We have the supply, ground, and export. Okay. So the three wires. Oh, okay, this three wires. This is for the R-XSR. I made one cable also for the Slim Plus. Okay. So same thing. We have the three wires, the red, black, and yellow, which is the 5V ground and export. And this one connects to the Slim Plus, which is the VCC or supply, export, and ground. Okay, you can see from here the wordings are on the cardboard here: VCC, export, and then ground. Okay. So once you get the connection right, the instructions to calibrate, the instructions and the procedure to download the firmware onto the Slim Plus can be seen at the video that I made earlier on the top right corner. Okay, click on that video. Okay, right. Also for this Slim Plus, I am using the F-port protocol, and also I'm using the Flex firmware. So that requires me only 3 wires. So 3 wires, I'm able to obtain the telemetry. So the green wire is the F-port wire. It is wired to the S-port pin. Okay, so all of these need is to solder this green wire to any TX pad of my choice on the flight controller, and then I have to configure the serial RX half duplex to on, and the serial RX inverted to on. Okay, so both of these has to be on for my F7 flight controller. Okay, quite easily done. I have removed the R-XSR, the access to R-XSR, and all I need to do is just to solder the wires away from this R-XSR, and we will check to see if the thickness of the Slim is able to fit into this part here. Okay, normally the first time after you finish the wiring is quite messy because you have not really decided how you're going to orientate the components. So with this, I think based on the orientation and not to use up the DJI space, This will be the best position where I orientate the wires around here and the plug is at the end. And for the buzzer, since the switch is on this side, I put it to the outer side and I'll cable tie the whole buzzer onto the frame. Okay, and you can also see that because of the fact that the capacitor is mounted more towards the left side, I have more space on the right side to mount the buzzer. That happens sometimes when you do things not right the first time. Okay, as for the antennas, I think it's long enough to be mounted underneath the arms here. So I have to figure out a way how to shorten the cables. Okay, now to find it and see. Okay, finally I managed to put it back all together in a flyable state. No point if I just do it halfway. Myself, I complete it. See, 2 Slim Plus antennas with the exposed antenna facing inward so that it is away from all the other antennas. This is the ground. Okay, so now with the Slim Plus, let's do a simple weighing first. Let's see how heavy it is. Okay, let's reset. Okay, 772 grams. I don't know whether you can see it. Okay, 772 grams, and 10 grams heavier than before. Expected because I have the 5 gram heavier buzzer and also have the extra antennas, and the Slim Plus is much bigger. So I am confident that it will bind and it will arm, but let's put a smoke stopper just in case, just to see if it arms. Okay, let's turn on the Tyrannis first. Remember to connect the long range antenna, and it's already at long range settings, so make sure it's off first, and then I connect the battery to the smoke stopper. Okay, make sure there's no obstruction. Okay, so let's try. Let's power it on. Smoke stopper is okay, no lights. Can I arm? Let's see. Yes, I can arm. Okay, let me switch it off again. Plug it out. And
telemetry lost.
Plug it directly now.
Telemetry recovered.
Okay, so let's do a simple rocking test to see if it's able to work. With air mode. Okay, good. Off air mode, just remote, left, right, up, down, and throttle a bit. Yes, your left, your right. Okay, everything is in control. Good. Let me plug out the battery, and conclusion, we have now Slim Plus long range.
Telemetry lost.
And can get ready to fly tomorrow. Look, the buzzer is now blinking, and in another 20 seconds it will start to beep. Let's see. Let's wait for another 20 seconds. Yes, the buzzer is beeping. Okay, press the buttons for 2 seconds to switch it off. Well, that's the conclusion of this project. Well, I can now at least bring it out tomorrow to try it out together with the group. and test it out and have a nice flight with the Slim Plus. Thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and do subscribe to my channel by clicking on the button, on the drone button on the top right, and then try to get to the notification bell and just enable it so that you will receive any of my future videos as soon as I post it. Okay, once again, keep safe during this period of pandemic. Bye bye.